About the skeletal system, of course, one of the 11 organ systems that's a part of the human body. All right, just a couple of vocabulary words there. Osteology is the study of bones in the skeleton, and a osteocyte is a bone cell. So the osteo obviously indicates something with the skeletal system and the bones, that prefix there. All right, so the functions of the bones, and there are many, as you can see. So there are several functions of the bones. So one, of course, is to provide mechanical support. The other one is to help give the body its shape. So basically, of course, without bones or anything, we would be shapeless. To allow locomotion and movement, so to allow us to move around and so on and so forth. To provide protection, for instance, like the cranium, okay, which is in the head, all right, protects our brain. We have the vertebrae, of course, that protects the spinal cord, and so on and so forth. The bones actually serve as a metabolic reserve for mineral salts, as well as blood, because we have bone marrow in the blood. I'm sorry, well, we have bone marrow inside the bones, so they serve as, they serve in that regard as well. So again, just the skeletal system is just beyond movement and structure, but they also have other type of functions that maybe a lot of people are not familiar with. The latter, in terms of reserving mineral salts and helping in blood production. Okay, so in terms of the classification of bones, there are actually 206 are classified bones in the human adult skeleton, and so that's a very important number to know. And they come in a variety of different shapes, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But when we get to that, you'll notice that I'll probably be talking about 4 different shapes of bones. Okay, so you have the skeletal system. The skeletal system breaks off actually into 2 major parts, if you will. You have the axial portion of the skeletal system and the appendicular portion of the skeletal system. So the axial and the appendicular. All right, so the axial, as you can see, it's more so kind of like confined to the axial, to the central part of the body. So the axial, of course, going to include, as the skull, rib cage, a little around here in the coccyx area, the vertebrae, and so on and so forth there. So that's the axial. Whereas the appendicular, that's more so, well, of course, all the bones that are not axial. So more so, more on the periphery side. You see the clavicle, you see basically like the arms and the legs, the pelvis, the femur, tibia, fibula, and so on and so forth. So those are the difference. Those are the differences between the two, the axial and the appendicular. And this graphic actually does, I think, a pretty good job in showing the difference of the two. Okay, so basically getting into the particulars of the axial. It's a part of the skeleton that consists of the bones of the head and trunk, the vertebrae. All right, and it just and it's composed of about 80 bones. All right, as you see, made up of 80 bones. Supports the upright position and protects internal organs. So of course, like the rib cage. All right, that's part of the axial. That's going to protect a bunch of the internal organs like the heart, the liver, and so on and so forth, the lungs. Whereas the appendicular, all right, these are portions of the skeleton vertebrae consisting of bones that support the appendages. Okay, so again, the bones are not axial. All right, and these are, of course, like the arms, the legs, the pelvis, feet, ankles, and so on and so forth. These bones actually more bones. Okay, so there are more. So there are about 126 126 bones, whereas the axial consists of 80 bones. All right, and these guys actually play a bigger role in terms of the aid of movement and mobility. So again, this is called a Venn diagram. I may have mentioned this before in another video, or maybe in another class. So maybe not this class, but this is called, we call it a Venn diagram. This is actually something that's very popularly used. Diagram, I'm trying to spell it here. All right, so this is actually to show, hey, okay, these are the things that you'll find in the axial, okay, and then here, and then here is the maybe I'll change colors here. Here's the appendicular. All right. So as you see here, these components, all right, are basically germane and applied to the appendicular. All right. Whereas these components apply to the axial skeleton. And what you see in here, all right, basically these are consistent of both. So of course the axial and the appendicular, okay, because this is kind of like the crossroad junction, if you will, of the two. So both the appendicular and the axial, made up of bones, provides the body, shape, so on and so forth. However, the difference, again, the axial is kind of more so the central part of the skeleton, and includes the skull, spinal cord, and ribs. Main function is to provide support and protection, whereas again, appendicular attached to the axial skeleton, so kind of more like the periphery, if you will. Includes bones of the arms, shoulders, legs, hips, and so on and so forth, and actually play a bigger role in terms of movement, or play actually the main role in terms of movement of the human body. All right, so again, the axial, I mentioned this before, axial consists of 80 bones. All right, so again, the skull. All right, the backbone, like the vertebrate, rib cage. All right, 80 bones. And appendicular, again, the portion of the human body, of the human exoskeleton. A lot of times we use that term or anything with other organisms as well, but it's consistent with the human body. All right. So you have the upper extremities of 64 bones, lower extremities 62 bones, grand total of 126 bones of the appendicular.